The game of tennis is all about errors. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know I spend a lot of time on how to reduce your own errors. But today we're going to talk about extracting errors. And one of the best ways you can extract errors from your opponent is by moving up in the court and taking the ball early. So I'm going to give you a few mindset shifts, a couple tactical things that might help you do this better. And at the end of this 10-minute lesson, if you feel like you've improved, I'm going to be asking for a like and a subscribe. So let's get started. Taking the ball early is one of the biggest missed opportunities I see amateur players making. So a lot of times I'll see a ball land just behind the service line, but players will opt to hit the ball from behind the baseline. So you're not even punishing your opponent for a short ball. And that's an issue for two reasons. Number one, if you're not going to attack a ball on the service line and play it from back here, then you're probably never going to play offense. But number two, instinctively, your opponent starts to realize, man, all I got to do is make a ball. If I hit it short and weak, no stress. And if I hit it deep, then they'll get a short ball. But that really loosens them up to just play simple tennis. And so it's this massive missed opportunity. And taking the ball early works well for two reasons. Number one, if I'm in my home base and I'm moving up to the ball and taking the ball on the rise, my overall ball quality is just going to be better. I've got my body weight behind it. I'm going to be hitting faster. I'm going to be hitting deeper. And that alone can force an error. But number two, I'm messing with the rhythm of my opponent. So everybody likes to play at the same cadence. Hit, recover, hit, recover. And that's why a lot of times when players play with a coach like myself, they feel like they hit great because the coach gives them the same ball, the same depth, the same speed every time, and you get into a rhythm. If you're a 4-0 and you practice with a 3-0, you probably rarely leave feeling like you hit the ball great. And that's because a 3-0 might hit one really fast, one slow, one high, one low, one deep, one short. The rhythm is all over the place. The timing is all over the place, and people don't feel good when that's happening. So taking the ball early is intentionally messing with the rhythm of your opponent, which can definitely force some errors. If you take anything away from this video, it's going to be that ball recognition is the number one way to get better at taking time away. So something I've realized as I've gotten older and I don't play is I don't move my feet. But I can still recognize a ball so quickly that I can almost walk into the court and still take the ball early because I'm seeing it right on time. So one thing that I've noticed that amateurs who don't take advantage of short balls is they see the ball is short when the ball actually bounces on the court. So when that ball hits the service line, they go, oh my God, that's a short ball. I should move up. But by the time they think that, the ball's already on them. That's too late. So what we have to start doing is anticipating that short ball. And one of the biggest ways you can do that is by reading your opponent's body language. So once you get decent at expecting a short ball, you'll notice that if your opponent is backing up, that's likely to be short. If they're reaching or they're reaching, that ball is also going to come back short a vast majority of the time. So before they've even hit the ball, if I see any of those things, I'm thinking short. On the flip side, if my opponent's coming up and they've got their body weight behind the ball, I'm thinking this one's going to come pretty fast and deep. It doesn't always happen that way, but I would not be anticipating a short ball in that situation. Once you get to that level, the third most advanced level is starting to anticipate the short ball when I've hit the ball. So I know what I'm trying to do when I've hit a ball. If I'm trying to just to make the ball because I'm in trouble, or if I'm trying to play offense. So I'm a smart player. So one way I'm going to play offense from behind the baseline is hitting a high heavy. When I've taken my cut and I hit that ball, right when it hits my strings, I should know if I've executed that ball or not. And if I feel like I hit that high heavy the way I wanted to, I'm already anticipating seeing my opponent on their back foot. And when that happens, now I've got two things. I know my ball was heavy and high. I now have a second confirmation that they're out of balance here and out of position. And now I'm really expecting the short ball. And once I see it off their racket, that's when I can move forward and take time away. The final piece of this and recognizing the ball is, what does a short ball look like? So number one, it's going to be low and it's going to be slow. So if someone hits very low over the net, the only way that ball is going to go deep is if they are absolutely ripping that ball. If they hit low and slow, it's going to go short. If they hit high, chances are, even if it's slow, it's probably going to go a little deeper. So you're looking when they're off their back foot to see if that ball is going to be coming low and then how fast they're hitting that ball as well. Another important element that makes taking time away a lot easier is just where you choose to start in general. So generally speaking, depends on your opponent, but I like to stand about 4 or 5 feet behind the baseline, right around here. And that's for a couple reasons. Number one, it's one-way traffic. So very rarely would I have to move deeper than this. If someone hit a ball right there with pace, I'll go ahead and put that ball down for you. I might have to take a small step back to play that ball, but I'm basically in position for anything deeper. So it's just one-way traffic. I'm just right here, and if I see it short, I can move up, and I only have to move one way. What I see amateurs do when we talk about taking balls early is they go, that's a great idea, and then they just park it right here. So if the ball is short, yeah, they're up in the court, they're gonna take the ball early, but anything deep, and now they're making a ton of unforced errors. So that's like the lazy man's way, or woman's, to take the ball early is instead of reading the ball, how about I just stand up here, and if they hit deep, I'm screwed, but if they hit short, I look like $1,000,000. What I would recommend, unless your opponent hits every single ball short, is starting a couple feet behind the baseline so that if they hit deep, I'm right here, and if they hit short, I've got one-way traffic up to that ball. The other thing we talked about reading the ball, one thing I do is I anticipate short almost every time. So like I said, if someone comes up into the court and they look like they mean business, I'm probably thinking it's gonna be fast and deep. Other than that, I'm anticipating short, and that's for one reason. If I'm right here and I'm ready for a short ball and I'm wrong, I'm already in position for the deep ball. I don't have to move, so there's no cost to me being wrong here. I can just take a step, boom, and hit. If I'm in this position and I'm relaxing, assuming you're gonna hit deep, the ball lands short, oh crap, I've now gotta go probably 6, 7 feet up to this ball, and I'm never gonna make it in time. So there's really no penalty if I'm anticipating short from back here, but there's a massive missed opportunity if I'm anticipating deep. So now let's talk about technically what needs to happen when you're moving up inside the baseline and taking time away. So one thing to remember, a lot of you don't know the dimensions of the court, but it's 78 feet from baseline to baseline. So if I'm striking my ball from about here, I've got about 80 feet to hit my ball. Anything deeper than that, and it's probably gonna be too deep. When I move up in the court and strike a ball from here, I'm losing about 6, 7 feet of court. So I have to make that adjustment. I can't hit my 80-foot forehand from 6 feet inside the baseline. That's not gonna work out for me, right? I'm gonna miss it long. So I have to make that adjustment. Number two is, even though I am taking their time away, I'm taking my own time away. I mean, I have less time to hit the ball objectively, and I'm up in the court, which means a shorter swing. So unless they've floated one, if I'm taking a faster shot up in the court, I might only take a half backswing and give it a rip. I don't have to go for the monster one. And that's a big mistake I see people making, is they take the ball early, but they take a backswing as if they had a ton of time. They catch it late, and then they go, I don't like that. I don't like missing. So a shorter backswing and realizing that you have less court to hit into will do wonders for you. The second thing, and a couple people have come on my podcast, Dustin Taylor and David Roditi have talked about this, and that is when the ball is rising, you drive it, and when the ball is dropping, you lift it. So if I'm behind the baseline and that ball is coming to me and coming down, I'm gonna hit up on that ball and hit topspin. But when I step up inside the baseline and that ball is on the rise, I'm gonna try to drive through it a little more. So I believe Dustin Taylor actually called it hitting up on an up. So if that ball is on the rise and I come up and I try to hit up on it, it's gonna be very tough to keep that ball down, especially like I said, since we have the shorter court. So it's not driving down through the ball, but when I see that short ball, I'm up in the court, I've got my shorter swing, and I'm going a little bit more through the ball this way. So I'm driving through the ball that's rising. So I'm gonna show you some demonstrations of a drill we did this week. We got some good college players in town from Michigan and University of Southern California. And we're gonna see when balls land short, when they're taking them from behind the baseline at first, and how they get a little bit better at taking inside the baseline. So check these points out so you can kind of visualize some of the cues that we've been talking about today. All right, so here are some drills that we did the other day with Piper Charney. She plays number 5 for Michigan as a freshman. And you can see the yellow line just past the service line. Balls land short like that one. My goal is for her to take this inside the baseline, but you can see she's very late recognizing it. She actually doesn't move forward at all, takes a massive swing, and even catches it late. So she's probably making contact about 3-4 feet behind the baseline and hasn't taken advantage of that short ball. And so we just keep doing more reps. You can see that's a little bit of a better one. Anything that lands behind the deep yellow line, she probably wants to take around her home base, which is that 4 or 5 feet behind the baseline. So you can see she's trying to read the ball. The nice thing is whenever someone does hit the ball deep, she's already in position, like that one right there. So she's just on the hunt for that short ball every single time. She's waiting for it, anticipating. If she's wrong, she's already on that yellow line. So let's take a look at this one. It's just past the service line. You can see her take back's pretty big, but now she's getting a little bit closer to making contact on the baseline. Obviously, I'd still like her even closer than that, but much, much better than what she's been doing. Here's the next ball. We got a ball that lands even deeper now. It's about a yard behind. And if you compare this to the one I froze earlier, now you can see she's just behind the baseline. So she's probably already improved a yard in this drill just by focusing on it. So I'm excited to see what we can do in the month of June when we get more reps and keep having her look for the short ball and working on that up and back movement. So if you're still here for this video, maybe that means you're really learning something and you're enjoying it. If that's the case, I would really appreciate you liking and subscribing to the channel. Just to recap, I like you about 4 to 5 feet behind the baseline, and we're always anticipating short. It's one-way traffic. We're looking at the body language of the opponent, and when we see them on their back foot or reaching, we're anticipating short. Once we see that lower, slower ball, we're getting up inside the baseline with a shorter backswing, and because we're likely taking the ball on the rise, we're driving through a little more, and we've got less court. So try taking time away. It's a process. Like I said, you're taking your own time away at first, so it might feel a little uncomfortable. But if you can get good at this, it's a very, very simple way that you can force errors from your opponents and win more matches.